Hello, dear friends. Welcome to Kardec Radio, where we are here to nourish our souls. I'm Norah Brazil, the host of this program, Pages of Hope. Another Thursday. Thanks God. Thank the spirits. We are doing it. We're almost in the weekend, and these days are going by really, really fast. So, today we have a really amazing study. But before we begin, let's say our initial prayer so that the spirits can come and be our guides and our mentors today. And hello, dearest Veronica. Welcome, dear friend. Welcome, welcome. Dear Mother, Father, God, thank you so much for this beautiful study this evening. We thank you for the resources, for the availability, and thank you for the Spiritist magazine, for Kardec Radio, and for Chico Xavier this evening as we study a story of Chico Xavier that we can connect to our beloved brother and continue this beautiful frequency of giving and love. With that, we ask permission to begin this session. All right, so be it. Dear friends, I have a story to share. The very first time that I was in Brazil, I stayed with a friend, and and she's like, "Would you like some rice and shoo shoo?" And I'm like, "Shoo shoo? What is shoo shoo?" And she was like, "You don't know what shoo shoo is?" And I said, "Well, no, what is shoo shoo?" And it's chayote. I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And so today's story is actually on chayote. It is on the Spiritist magazine. It's issue 28, and it is on an incident of chayote. So I'm going to share my screen because I think the slides really help. And I'm also going to check on my phone. And thank you so much for all of you that are coming. Thank you for all your presence here at Kardec Radio. All right. Things not to stream. There we go. All right. And I need to check here. I'm Norah Brazil. Okay. Okay, so it is working. Norah Brazil. Thank you. There you go. Just want to make sure it works. All right, dear friends. So it is the Chayote incident. Again, this is in the Spiritist magazine, issue 28. And this is from a book called Lindos Casos de Chico Xavier by Ramiro Rama. And in this particular article, it is translated by S.J. Haddad. In this book, I scrolled through it and it's absolutely beautiful. And it has a little history of Chico Xavier. It starts out with his childhood and then it leads into his youth and later years. And then there's so many stories. And the really nice thing about this book is really that it has small text. I'm a reading teacher and I love reading novels, right? So let's think about Spiritist books. Like Andre Louis' books are awesome. They're a huge novel and we get to follow him for, some days. But short stories, we still learn, but it's like we process them quickly. In this particular book and in this particular case, that's exactly the way we are going to approach today's story. All right. So before we go into the story, fun facts. It's always nice to learn about chayote or shushu, right? The scientific name is Sequium edu. And it was interesting because reading and doing some research, this is actually linked to Mexico and Central America. It was part of the diet of the pre-Columbian culture. So it's a very indigenous meal. And I was like, oh my gosh, wow, right? And chayote derives from a modification of two Nahuatl words, huitz and ayotl, which means pumpkin with thorns. And later, after the Spaniards came, conquered Mexico and all of that, right? They started to derive it more as the name as chayote. And now it's chayote in Spanish, chayote in English, and shushu in Portuguese. So those are just fun facts. It was at one point also thought it had some medicinal purposes, and they did use. They published an article in Spain, but we do know that fruits and vegetables, they are really good for us. So of course, but the really interesting thing, digging a little bit more, there was an author, his name, believe it or not, I thought, what a coincidence, or not. His name was Francisco Javier Clavijero. And Francisco was a Jesuit teacher from Mexico, and he collected a lot of this information. And then eventually, because he was a Jesuit, he wasn't a Catholic, he ends up exiled in Italy. But in there, he writes this book called La Cultura de los Mexicanos, which is translated to the culture of Mexicans. And here he actually, for the first time, describes a shushu or a chayote. And look at the beautiful description: a round fruit and similar in the hedgehog that is covered like a chestnut, but much bigger, darker, and a greener color. Its flesh is white, which pulls green, and in the middle, it has a nugget, big and white, like the meat in the substance. It's eaten cooked together with a nugget. This fruit dawns on the lovely plant whose root is good to eat. So this is just a little history, a little fun fact, and we get to connect to shushu or chayote so much better. And in this is a an encyclopedia for food. It has all sorts of nutritional values and calories and all of that stuff and fun facts about the food. So I know some of us love to cook our meals and we love to understand what we are preparing, right? But today's shushu or today's chayote is a spiritual one. But in Brazilian culture, shushu is also means cutie and sweetie. So that's really, really cute. Okay, so now let's get to Chico's story. Come on, Norah, let's get to this. All right. So this is the way it looks in the Spiritist magazine, and it's called the Chayote incident. And we're going to listen to the story, right? And that way it could just sink in. I'm gonna press play, and then I'm gonna check if it is here. And hello, Miss Linda. Welcome, welcome, dear friend. Thank you so much. Hugs to you and Veronica for your beautiful presence. Here we go.
Javier, single, lived with other members of his family who often had their doubts about his extreme Christian ways of giving. One day, his widowed sister-in-law, Maria, who did not especially believe in giving without receiving anything in return, commented, "I just don't believe in your theories of always giving, always serving, and always helping with nothing in return. So far, I have not seen any result of all the good you have done for others."
All that we do in sincerity will be blessed by God. And when we give, not letting the left hand know what the right hand does, sooner or later, we will receive the Father's answer. You can be sure of one thing: a good man lives as one surrounded by his own goodness, and he shall reap the good that he does.
Then let us try this. In the kitchen I have 2 chayotes. If someone comes to see me, I will give them away just to see if I will receive other 2 in return. She had hardly finished saying it when they hear the next door neighbor calling her from behind the fence.
"Please, Maria, could you give me or lend me a couple chayotes?"
"Sure, my dear, here they are. I hope you will enjoy them." Maria had not yet recovered from her surprise when the neighbor on the other side also called her from behind the fence, offering her 4 of the same chayote from her garden. About half hour later, the backyard neighbor comes and asks if she could have a few chayotes. So Maria gave her 4 chayotes. Without knowing what was going on, the front neighbor came by and offered Xavier's sister-in-law 8 chayotes. Maria started feeling uneasy with the impact of the lesson when an old friend, who was very poor, unexpectedly paid her a visit. The woman stayed for some time, telling her how poor they were to the point of sometimes going hungry. As the woman was leaving, Maria handed her over some groceries plus the 8 chayotes that were given to her by the front neighbor. "Now I want to see if I am going to receive the 16 chayotes. Then there will be an end to this comedy." It was already late, and Xavier had to leave for work. He gave her a smile as if to say,
Wait and you will see.
By 6 o'clock in the evening, Chico returned. Maria had waited all day for something to happen, but nothing did. She kept looking at him as if to say, "See, this time I win." By 8 p.m., the whole family was in the living room chatting, completely forgotten about the Chayote incident. Soon, hearing a knock at the door, Maria went to open it. It was an old farmer, a friend of the family. He brought her a few presents as a token of his gratitude for the meals she used to serve him when he came to town. He then unloaded from the donkey's back a heavy burlap bag. Maria began nervously to untie the bag, and behold, it was full of chayotes, 64 of them. 4 times the amount she had given away the last time. That was too much for Maria. The unusual way in which she had received this lesson was a manifestation of divine mercy. She then learned, from that day onwards, that the one who gives will always receive more in return.
Wow. What a story. And just to recap, right? Shiko and his sister-in-law were having a discussion, and she was very, very
Javier.
worried about Shiko, right? Because he's giving and giving and giving. She's like, hey, you're just giving. How come you're not receiving, right? It was sweet and comical, but it was a very profound. And at the end, she started off giving two chayotes, and at the end, she gets 64 in one day, right? So love this story. And reading it the very first time, I was thinking, wow, I mean, is this really about giving, or what does this mean? And then when looking at this closely, Shiko's sister-in-law, she already gave. It says there that she would help people, right? The person that had given her the cave unexpectedly given her the 64 shoes at the end was because she had already given before, right? So it was not that. It was actually her being super, super concerned about Shiko and not seeing those physical manifestations, right? And so I think that this is to help us raise the bar a little bit and to see giving in a slightly different way, and to catch ourselves sometimes in this, right? And so there are 3 things that we can think about as far as giving. One of them, we called it the minimalist giving. The next one is the linear versus nonlinear, and the third one is a given meter. So let's begin with minimalist giving. What does that mean? That we give minimalist objects? Not at all. Like the chayote can symbolize like a minimalist gift. Think about minimalist. We see all these Netflix shows and all these people, oh, we're going minimalist, right? Because it's the simplicity, it's the humbleness in our home, it's the energy clean around, right? So when we are doing minimalist giving, right, it's our attitude, it's our simple and our humble attitude in the process as we are giving, right? So it almost entails giving with purpose. So it's not about the size or how much, but it's just being humble. So, I love to give those Christmas sweaters, dear friends, by all means. But and what we were being today reminded is to be humble, to give. Now, notice how the sister-in-law chose a chayote, right? Never once in this example did Shiko say, hey, go give away the sofa or give away this huge thing. That was not the lesson. There was some simplicity in this shoe that was giving. And we know that it was also for food, right? So it was very personal. So when we give, let's keep this in mind. Proverbs chapter 3, verses 27 says, do not withhold good from those to whom it is due when it is in your power to do it. So it's like us as spiritists, now that we're educating ourselves, the spirits are enlightening our souls and our understanding this, we're raising the bar as to how we give, right? Let's go on to the next point, which is linear versus non-linear. And this has to do with timing. All right, dear friends. So let's think for a moment. We know in our incarnation, time exists in a very linear format. We wake up, some of us at 6, some of us at 7, 8, 9, 10. Some people might even wake up at 11, right? And we have an hour, 1, 2, 3, right? We have schedules which tend to be linear, pardon me. But we know that time is probably non-linear, right? So when we are expecting something in return, such as Chico's sister-in-law Maria, right? We're having this linear thinking. So let's step here for a minute. And if you're watching this, you can see there's a shape of the shushu. It's like round, right? And so imagine the shape of the shushu, right? Eventually it will come. So even if we think of the shape of this whole thing and thinking of this as a metaphor and linear versus nonlinear, it will come. But it's so important for us to show compassion towards others by respecting their way of giving back, okay? And we need to be open for it to not necessarily be in a linear time. It might come to us nonlinear time. It will come around. What does this mean? Let's think about Andre Louis' books, right? So Andre Louis gives us these detailed accounts as to how we're all connected. That's inevitable, right? And especially as we're incarnating with families. So we think our giving today might be a debt from yesterday or from another life, and vice versa. So we don't know. And also, being compassionate is showing some is not expecting necessarily the same thing back. Sometimes people give things differently, and we have to wait. It will come around, right? Well, it helps, at least for me. That's the way. I wish we were in a classroom, because I would probably be asking, what do you guys think about this concept, right? And the third thing that came to mind with this is the giving meter, right? So we go back to Maria asking Chico, hey, how come you're giving and there's nothing there? We don't see it, right? So really, we think about, there's the differences between the both of them. And we think our meter, our giving meter, it's custom made to our reincarnatory plan. So Chico had a specific he had a specific mission. And so we can always think of it like his spiritual DNA was a certain way, it was for him. And each of us have our own and special and unique way of giving. And so we start to compare, it we start to do then we start to not see the giving in an elevated way. We start to materialize it way too much. So we think about this, right? We have our own given meter. So it's important to balance. So for me, let's give a material example, right? Let's say I'm able to give 5 items, but that's in my given meter, right? And then somebody is only able to give one. And then we measure this. This person, they gave their one, but that was their all. I mean, wouldn't it be safe to say that it's like we have five? So it's like it balances off. So it's not about the quantity or how much, it's really respecting people's given meter. And this can also take us in the direction of non-physical things as well, right? Which is what we're here for. We want to learn about that stuff when we give of ourselves, when, we're listening to others. That's a great way to give, right? Somebody needs our support, and we listen and we acknowledge them. We make the conversation about them, right? And Chico is a great, great role model for us of all of this. And he was very, very attentive to everyone and the way he gives. And so, right, just because I gave 1 hour, let's say a friend is having a situation, I'm on the phone for 1 hour, and it's like, okay, you know what? Now you're going to listen to me for 1 hour. Like, you see how it sounds childish, but sometimes we are that way. I'm myself guilty first. I always put myself first before I say anything, but it's kind of that thing. But at that time, right, my given meter is expanding, because a given meter is not, it's not a fixed, right? As spiritists, we want to stay away from that solid mindset. We want to be in a growth mindset. So given meters are arranged to our alignment, to the situation, to the circumstance, to a life, right? And so those are just things, food for thought. How funny is shoo for thought as to how we can learn so much from giving, and see how we're doing this, friends. We are not perfect. We are here to work on this. So every day, little by little, we keep going, we keep moving forward. And before we know it, we start to, understand more about this giving gift because it's so beautiful, and see that it's not so much the material, but it's of ourselves. Now, in this program, we do bring a poem. And Chico Xavier actually psychographs a book that is full of Spiritist poetry. And here we can see, I'm going to try to say it in Portuguese. Oh my Lord. Okay. It's Parnaso de Além Túmulo. And so it's like I guess it's like a poetry from the beyond in a sense. And, the book is beautiful. This is a rough translation. It's just for us to get an idea. It was not worked around or anything. So let me move this right here. All right. So here we go. Help and Pass. And this is by Alberto de Oliveira. Extend a fraternal hand to the one who laughs and to the one who cries. The palace and the hut, the nest and the grave, everything that vibrates awaits the light that shines. In the eternal law of love that consecrates the creature, plant the blessing of peace like rays of dawn. In the darkness of the thief, in the pain of the soul he perjures, radiate forgiveness and answer around the world where rebellion cries out and where bitterness exists. Now, today, and tomorrow, understand, help, and pass. Clarifies the joy and consoles the misfortune. Keeps the longing for the good that is like a pilgrim fire. Do not exchange evil for evil. Flee the shadow and revenge. Don't be afflicted by misery. Lean on hope. May the blessing of love be the light of your destiny. All right, we could do a quick analogy of this with the shoo and everything that we saw. Here we're getting some tools. Extend a hand. Sometimes we have to extend a hand. It doesn't matter. We have the word palace, hut, nest, and grave. It doesn't matter how big, how small, the value or anything. We just extend the hand because it says right here, awaits the light that shines. Yes, that means we can be a light when we are giving with that attitude of humbleness, of simplicity, not bypassing the physical, but really connecting with the person. We are light that shines, right? Like the song, This Little Light of Mine, I'm gonna let it shine. There you go, right? Now, it says here, plant the blessings of peace. So when we plant something, that means it's something that it has potential to grow. So it's not, again, we're not being called to help in the material. Yes, but at the same time, even if we give something material, can we somehow connect something spiritual to it? Let me give an example. I have had the blessing to volunteer at in Bronzeville, Team Bronzeville. There's the immigrants or refugees. They come into this country and they come here without anything. And of course, as an organization, we give them a backpack and there are physical things inside that backpack. But friends, we can make a prayer, right? Planting the goodness, planting God's love, planting compassion. And every time we hang out at backpacks, we smile, we say, have a great day, welcome to this country, things like this. So yes, sometimes we are called to give the physical things, but could we plant a blessing? All right. And then radiate forgiveness. I thought this was brilliant. Alberto, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Because giving can also be forgiveness. Sometimes we don't we don't give ourselves forgiveness, right? We're so hard on ourselves that sometimes we don't forgive others and we don't give them that chance. And we all know that forgiveness is a release, it's a freedom, right? From all that energy that's tied between individuals, between souls. So radiating forgiveness is also a way of giving. Love this right here. It says today, now, today, and tomorrow, understand, help, and pass. This right here is a very spiritual way of seeing things, that non-linear concept of time. Now, today, and tomorrow means it's not just right now, it's not was yesterday, or like, no, constantly. We want to help, we want to give, we want to understand, and help and pass. And what does pass mean, right? Isn't that something for us to food for thought, right? If somebody helps us, we pass it along. Oh, it's just beautiful. All right. What's another one? Keeps the longing for good that is like a pilgrim fire. What do you mean pilgrim fire? It means we keep it going. Keep the flame going. Let's go, let's go. But look at how this ends. Do not exchange evil for evil. Flee the shadow and revenge. So there is that other side, right, of the coin. Where we always talk about giving. It's always such a positive thing. Right? Let's give. But sometimes we can find ourselves on the other end where we give darkness, we give sadness, we are in this revenge form and way of being. And so we want to eliminate all of that, right? As Chico and Alberto are helping us understand. And we want to lean on hope. We want to give towards the light. We want to be the light that shines, right? And that way we can be more peaceful. It says here, may the blessing of love be the light of your destiny. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Chico and Alberto. And the shoo story, I thought it was absolutely gorgeous. So now we think I will never eat shoo or chayote the same ever, ever again. I don't know about you, but absolutely gorgeous. And I believe, and that is it. So let me come back to here. Hi, Robbie. All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing. Okay, am I here? Hi, Robbie. Thank you so much. Linda, very good, Nora, for including food in it. Oh, yes. If anything, let's think about this. Food for the soul, right? This shushu is divine, it's special, and it's teaching us so many, many lessons about this. I loved it. And now all we can do is we just every day we give it our best, right? Self-check, giving material things, but also most importantly, things of the heart, our thoughts, forgiveness, and all those beautiful things. All right. With that said, we're going to say a prayer to finalize our program today. And once again, Veronica, Linda, Robbie, and anyone else that I don't see your name here, feel embraced and hugged and just very, very welcome here at Kardec Radio. All right. Dear Mother, Father, God, thank you so much for today. Thank you for this food for thought, for understanding the roots, the cultures, the progress, the evolution of everything, and the beautiful connection between things, for the enlightenment that we are able to study that way. Thank you so much. We ask for anyone this evening who is needing an embrace, who is needing a word, who is needing more of you, that you send your divine mentors to those individuals, because we are here, dear Lord, for a beautiful purpose. And thank you for all of that. And that we may continue to give all that we have and to pass it on, and to always be blessed, and to be living in a beautiful light and just shining in everyone's path. You before us, you in front of us. Thank you so much, mentors. Thank you, Kardec Radio. With that said, we ask permission to end this study, and so be it. All right, dear friends, thank you so much. Until next time, same channel, same day, and let's see what we have in store. Thank you. Stay safe. All right. And don't forget to tune to other programs here at the Kardec Radio, where we're always here to nourish our souls. God bless. Goodbye.